Yes, indeed. Some nice fly-throughs of Dust2 to get us in the mood here. Hopefully the game gets underway soon, but let's nail down a prediction, Scriv. Who's taking this one?
I think kind of looking at it and looking at the way that they've been playing recently, I feel like the form is with Falcons for me, so I'm probably going to give them the 2-0. I'm definitely going to give them the 2-0, actually. Yeah, just full send it, mate.
I'm going to take Wisla 2-1, so a little bit of disagreement here on the cast, and I guess, as we know the old saying goes, there's only one way to find out. They need to fight.
Absolutely. Shout out to Harry Hill. Oh, man. I do miss that show. It was a banger. They've given us a bit of time here out towards long. Just taking it slowly on that T side of things. They're trying to go for a run boost, but the player on top, don't know if you guys caught that, went a bit too far forwards. However, it works out. Some kind of weirdness going on towards long. But the Glocks at range able to win those fights. Certainly not the gun that you would give the advantage in that particular scenario. So looking to get the bomb down, should be able to do so. Really, really tough retake here for Wisla.
Yeah, they might even think of saving, but it looks like they're posturing for the retake. Look at this after-plant positioning from the T-side players, hiding on the bomb site, player towards car, one at the long, and we can see Pythons there even thinking about the flank on towards Catwalk. Bit of a trade early on. The Kios here behind the car can't actually connect, and somehow becoming more and more doable. The problem is that short flank is getting closer and closer, not even required, and ultimately after plant positioning just a little bit too strong for Wisla to deal with.
Yeah, losing those two players real quick is going to make life very difficult going into the post plant, right? And you've got your rotators coming in, you don't really have any information. Of course, that pistol round, you're going to lack utility. So just tough that the A defenders couldn't put up a better fight. We'll see here, though. The force buy is pretty scary, of course, on Dust2. Scout in play. Maka trapped somewhat, but hoping he can distract away. Nice nade going to land on towards Hadji, he says, and then, of course, you know, fairly minimal damage. So nothing really coming as yet. Falcon just kind of chilling, just kind of feeling things out, right? Ready and waiting to see what comes their way. And, well, this is where they're not afraid to get aggressive here, of course, and over-rotate. And this is about to be a bloodbath in towards long.
Lots of players here now. Goofy, smoke in hand. He's going to drop that one way, but I don't think he knows that Kios is only meters away. Smoke goes down, but frag goes the opposite direction, and it's all traded out. And seeing how that one played out in the end, it didn't look like Wisla were really aware that the players could be up close, and Falcons, guys, keeping it simple, and it works to perfection.
Holding on to see if anything comes their way. Sobol gets kind of unlucky, unbeknownst to him. Or perhaps lucky, as the case may be. He could have also lost his head. But they're just looking to hold these Deagles into the next, of course. Use a bit of time to talk things over. But flying start. Absolutely brilliant start from the Falcons, for sure. Can be really, really happy with this. And of course, you know, CT side, very strong at the moment, yes, but that economy is always going to be an issue, and very quickly going to need to get it under their belt, because Falcons are building theirs real nice.
Looking good so far. Couple saved Deagles coming into this one, so maybe they'll try and make a little bit of a play, but Falcons guys here should be aware. Slow and steady. Spot out any aggression and then commit in the other direction. You really don't need to be overthinking any rounds like this, and that seems to be the case, Scriv, but there's a lot of players coming towards long, and this nade could do damage. Kios taking down low early.
Kind of scary. They do need to be careful, of course, and Wisla, again, set up for something a little different. Decided to move away, push in towards short. Still sticking around on that CT side, though. So, Team Falcons, Falcons Esports, looking to hold the line and not get too giddy with the move here. Really giving us a lot of time to work this one over, though. And sometimes there is such a thing as too much respect. They are walking straight into the lion's den, though. Trying to play around the smoke is not going to work. Kios the low HP player taking that one first, and there's not really a chance to get the trade in. Shapiro, Eagle in pit, such a deadly and difficult to deal with angle for that T side, and now all of a sudden it's a 2-man advantage. Nade does big damage in fairness, and of course these AKs will rip the unarmored opponents apart, but it's just a case of pinning them down. Python leading the charge, looking good while doing so, but another 2 to get through. He's trapped. The Deagle is a bit scarier than the USP, trying to get the pre-fires in. He's just buying time and space for his teammates, and hopefully now it should be enough, right, to at the very least take control of the A-bomb site. It is incredibly costly here, this venture. Sobol, though, struggling to find any more kills. I'm going to go down. Yojin not taking the risk, and they set up together after he gets that bomb down. Beautiful stuff in the little 2v1, but comes way closer.
Oh, what an incredibly hectic round there for Falcons from start to finish. When they went down 3-on-5, it really felt for a few seconds, didn't it? Like, this is going to slip away from them. I think Sobel was in towards lower dark, and had he found that kill on towards Catwalk, it probably would have been a very heavy eco round win, but Falcons just about escape with their lives. And does a lot of damage to that T-side economy. Sobol, wide swing. Easy pickup for him, as they are trying to brute force things here a little bit. Maka straight out middle and finds no one there, right? Gets the catch, but this B hold, therefore, is going to be absolutely solid. Not ready for the second player. Maka's got to come in and do an awful lot of work. Sobol, staying alive, just needs to buy that time. Somehow manages to dish out damage and just not die. Into the 2-on-2. Certainly a difficult bomb site to retake, and Maka just gets off the bomb in time for the headshot, and now Snatchy doesn't really care about the low HP. It's Python to find the frag. Beautiful stuff. And Team Falcons, I mean, it's messy. It's very messy, but they will indeed answer back with a cleaner 4th round. Looking good. Money also banking up a little bit, so not too shabby stuff. And I guess we're getting to the point now looking at Wisla saying, pistols in play. We need to see a little bit of damage here to prevent that T-side money getting out of control. But so far, so good here for the Falcons, guys. And although the rounds have been a little bit hectic, it's safe to say the individuals are here to play. Yeah, definitely. And I think that, you know, we have an awful lot of trouble in store if that's the case. Because I do feel one of the things that definitely leans me towards Falcons is the fact that their individuals are, at the very least, more experienced, if not mechanically better for me, right? Mac has been someone that I think people have been watching for a while. Haji also falls into that. I'm not sure within this kind of a team. I think he's probably going to be further down the pecking order, right, than LDLC, where there were some less strong players, let's say. So we'll see here. It's a nice shot from Spiro above the smoke. Maka finally does fall, proves himself to be mortal. And again, it's a scary half buy here, Alan. Yeah, indeed. Another kind of anti-low buy where they are going man down, and it's not kind of panic stations here. That weapon can't be recovered by Wisla, and indeed they just trade off an SMG for that. So it's not the end of the world, but they can't allow another player to fall in a lax circumstance. Gets a bit dicey there. And the really scary part here, Scriv, is look at the nades here for the Falcons, guys. One smoke. If these CTs are in the right positions, this could get really scary really fast, and the spam is doing damage. Oh my goodness. Jedka finds a frag, as well as, you know, half HP and another player. 2 ready and waiting. Hard setup on the B bomb site. Always difficult to break apart. They do lose one in the process. It's Kyojin, though, with the quick turnaround. Picking up Jedka. Key frag. Goofy comes flying in with his Mac 10, though. And Kio's missing shots. Not proficient on that AWP up close, that's for sure. Oh, man. Wisla, you know, they'd be knocking at the door of winning a round like that. All 3 of the previous rounds here, including this one, have been very, very close. They finally are able to get in. And, yeah, Falcons will be kicking themselves for sure. A little bit of luck here, of course, on the spam, but you're inviting that luck by having no utility and having to commit with the smoke. Not looking great, but for Wisla, 1 on the board. And of course, winning on kind of an eco round, bit of a half buy, allows them to bank up a little bit of cash for good measure. AWP in play as well. And we're looking at the Falcon side of things saying, if you lose this round, your money is in the bin. Important one here.
Another early frag coming in for Wisla. Snatchy on this AWP and finally on the board as well. So good to see. And, you know, Falcons starting a man down once again. And they've kind of struggled in the past to pull rounds back. We'll see whether they can get it done. But once again, another addition, right, to the same sort of storyline is the fact that they're running out of nades pretty quick in this round as well. So certainly not going to be the easiest ride if they want to hit this A bomb site that is firmly on lock with the AWP that's activated. A lot of work to be done. A minute left. Interesting kind of smoke to play around by the looks of things. Oh, however, Goofy, he's got games of his own. Will peek out, finds Kios in almost a second. Hadji on that lurking position doesn't look too bad, but the big question, is it going to be enough, right? He keeps on going. So we'll see here. Snatchy now vulnerable. Goofy's still alive and causing trouble. Hadji runs into him in the smoke. Unfortunately, Goofy's taken his teammates down quite easily. Hadji finds himself a nice little gift of 2 nades chilling there. I don't think they were meant for him. And, of course, no bomb is the key thing with 25 seconds left.
Trying to bait a bit of sound. Was Hadji there, running towards the site. Problem is, there's nobody short to react. And now that Sobel's here, bomb is in his hands. He's going to spot that one. Tell his teammate, I can see the bomb. I can't see the T player. There's 10 seconds left. You don't need to do anything. And Hadji certainly now to be thinking about the save. And I will just kind of go back to that moment. You remember the Macca smoke here by the car? It might look a little bit silly, but the problem is if you just do regular cross smokes, the CTs have so many nades. They can put down one-ways and molotovs and chain flashes, and the likelihood of you getting across in any good situation is pretty low. So I kind of like the idea. Do something a little bit different. Try and force some one-ways of the AWP. Clearly it didn't really pan out, but there was method to the madness, as we say.
Yeah, and it's not the end of the world to be somewhat desperate in a round like that. Pull out something unorthodox. You never know, might catch him. And there's a world in which Goofy goes for that wide swing and you catch him. And then all of a sudden the A-bomb site's looking very vulnerable, isn't it? You got Hadji on the backside doing work. So, such is the nature of the beast. We do have a pause, I would imagine, from Falcons, wanting to keep it together and trying to figure out what to do in this one with the money and, of course, with where they want to end up. They will go for the force buy. There's an AWP in play. I'm sure Wisla will be aware of that. Macca not really able to find the old nade cross coming back into play, of course, to make sure they can get across cleanly. We'll see what happens here, because I think Wisla are playing a very heavy B defense, which does leave their mid area pretty vulnerable. So I'm interested to see if Falcons read into that and what they do around it.
Seem to be kind of a little bit scared of an early B hit, even though they have the nades to block it if they're really scared. So maybe a bit of a read, because we can see more of a default from the Falcons guys coming in from lower now. That nade might do a bit of damage. Keels and Python need that one. Could have been worse, but chip damage is great. And of course, Scriv, now those M4s become, you know, AKs with the headshots.
Yeah, absolutely. Kyojin has managed to open the book, though. Looking pretty good in that sense. Nice flash. Jedka just about makes the way, but, you know, it's going to continue to weaken these areas. Moving in from short. Could quite easily get the bomb down. Kyo's going for some deeper control. Plant for short, play around it. Nice smoke covers off long as well, so good stuff here. Allows them a more open plant. We've got many players coming through from short. Kyojin with the dry peek, goes for info, gets a frag, and of course that information as well. I think he might have spotted at least 2, probably not all 3 though. And they're going for the old classic dribble smokes on the retake, doing their best terrorist impression. And unfortunately it's not quite going to plan. Hadji up close, double spray down on the totem pole, and that'll be Falcons back on the board.
Looking good. I will say, Kyojin, that was a little bit too much facing short on his own there. If he dies, that retake is 100% on. They could have lost it. So, a few individual mistakes sleepy in for, kind of sneaky in for Falcons. The good news is, overall, the team play is looking good. And finally, the entry frags are starting to sneak into their direction. And now we're looking at Wisla and saying, your money is terrible. It's going to be a bit of a half buy. And exchange is taken here along. But ultimately, goes the way of Falcons.
Yeah, Python throwing himself at it. Nearly goes down. So watch that for later on in the round, of course. We do have an M4 in play here. And they are quite light-footed on the CT side. Snatchy with Spiro last time. Snatchy this time taking down Maka as he tries to get into pit and just, you know, look for information. Not really going to work out. Big nade coming in here as well. So, yes, we're 4-on-4, but the HP firmly in favor of the CT side.
A lot of utility already expended. Throwing this corner smoke, of course, and they've smoked deep CT back towards the A-bomb site itself. Good news is, AWP recovered. It's finding frags. 2 goes the way of Python. Man advantage now, but they need to keep their wits about them. Caspero here, he's on the flank, and he could do damage.
Seem to be savvy to the fight. Hadji, oh, if the timing was slightly better, Hadji's watching for it. Smoke goes down. Spiro can't really capitalize. He did just see the shadow. Probably easier to get it with the X-ray, to be honest, and notice that he's there. However, Hadji clearly has not seen it, and Spiro comes in behind. Finds one. Flash is no good, but frag is. And now just Sobol. Mad little off angle here. He has been seen, but hard to clear. He finds one, and he dips away into the smoke. Not a bad little move. Leaves Hadji with the 1v1, but of course not going for the bomb plant. Going for the fight. Sobol walks right into his crosshair. Again, way closer than you'd really like here if you're the T side, but they will find another round.
Yeah, some of these rounds starting to get really messy for Falcons, and a little bit bizarrely, isn't it? It feels like when they're versus the guns, it's much cleaner, so maybe up against the ecos or the pistols are overextending a little bit. Maybe, you know, they're not fully composed, but it's made it difficult. Because the money here for Falcons is so low. If they lose a single gun round here, Wisla can really sneak back into this half so quickly.
Which is such an interesting thing to say when the T side, you know, is winning relatively substantially, right? And they are stringing a few together, but just not in the best way, at least financially speaking. And even in rounds like this, they're kind of looking down the barrel of, right, what do we do? Got to make sure that everyone's got a weapon dropped across. So it's definitely a weirder dynamic than usual. But I suppose you're looking to get away with it on the T side. And it's definitely a mind game aspect, I would say. We've got a fast cat coming in, though, for the AWP. Spots out towards lower. Mollied off by his teammate. Not really able to gather as much information as they'd like on the Falcon side. And the back away comes in. So boring cat jump, but it is indeed the way it goes sometimes. There we go. Snatchy finally gets what he was looking for. Python going to go down. The obvious flash, not enough to work with, really. Does leave their long vulnerable. But they are banking on that. Oh, Maka, narrow miss. And now surely Goofy knows he just has to play safe.
It's tricky, though, isn't it? He's the only player up on the bomb site, and he's got to worry about short and long, and he decides, I can't hold the site, guys. I have to hold on to Catwalk, and if Hadji faces, suddenly this position could become very exposed, but again, a lack of utility. Fighting Falcons in the back, they can't cross long, the mid flank doesn't work out, and even recovering the bomb now might be really tough.
Yeah, super brute force in these rounds, man, and like you said, I think the utility goes a bit wild. You got this player in lower who maybe, you know, could have had some support, but decides to flash himself. It does make life very difficult. And you can see the mechanics are there. Maka's flying in with the AWP and able to take out Snatchy on an unfavorable angle for sure. And instead of going for the bomb, they're both going to get AKs and opt to push forwards. Nice spots coming in. However, Sobol winning his fight here with the A1S. Now he's got support and the trade will come through. So they make it costly in the end for the CT side, but they themselves are now going to feel the burn because, of course, as we talked about, no money, no bomb plant, and Wisla very quickly, it just takes one round and they're able to close the gap even more.
It's a nice entry. Long reaction was okay, as we're seeing here. The number of rounds, man, where we're getting down to 30 seconds and there's no utility really left for the T side is a little bit bewildering, isn't it? Maybe they need to, you know, talk a little bit more throughout the rounds and make sure they're saving the nades for the opportune moment. B pops on the cards. Mid push from Snatchy this round. is every second going far closer to the CT side. Sobel gets dinked up, going towards back flat, as Sparrow's already isolated out of the sight. This is flipping and flopping all over the place.
Yeah, this is pretty disastrous, right? Nice Molotov as well. I'm not sure if it's intentional, but it's a little deeper. Still gives you that space to peek out from window. They weren't banking on it. And a nice quick frag comes in before the bomb actually goes down. And we're fully into the post plant. AK at range. Able to play around that. Almost catching Goofy, but not quite going to happen. So, not get away with an M4. Hadji on the backside, making sure they are definitely saving and well. Actually results in nobody saving for the CT side. So, yeah, that one has gone pretty poor. They've clearly been, you know, learning from their mistakes, or at the very least learning from what Wisla were doing, forced by their own. And it looked pretty damn good. They've been saving that. Yeah,
it was such an important round, though, because that was a full investment from Falcons. And Wisla had all the information. They pushed up mid. They knew it wasn't long. It couldn't have been mid. It had to only have been B. And I'm not sure exactly what happened on the site, but clearly wasn't ideal. And now they're paying the price. Sparrow finds one. Swiftly traded. With just the pistols here up against the rifles, it should be Falcons getting to 8.
Well, you know...
Yeah, never say never, I guess.
Yeah. He said it now, but we're always in this camp, aren't we? It's like on the casting side of things, where it's like, surely we've got to see some normal Counter-Strike, because so far, maybe as to be expected from teams of this caliber, but it's been very, very, very wacky. Sobol managed to find one in the lower tunnels. So they will maybe think about going B, thinking against it. Sobol with a reposition. Snatchy's been tagged down low, and they indeed are playing the information game, going back towards short. This has been spotted. 5-7 dishes some damage, but no kills. Scout looks kind of deadly on this angle. No flash to get it off. A CT drop. Oh, God. It's so painful to watch. Snatchy with the final 2 frags on 4 HP. And yeah, I don't know about that CT drop, to be honest, Maka. But at the same time, it's not like the short push was any better. Really not thought out there by the T side. So yeah. I don't know, man. The caster's curse is real. just a little. Just a little.
I'll tell you what, if you were like a Falcons fan watching this game, you'd be thinking, this is nerve-wracking stuff. We might be up in rounds, but the number of situations which have slipped away or been on the knife edge, so many throughout this game. And equally, Wisla are going to watch this game back and think, we could have had a flawless CT side some of these rounds. But now, getting towards the business end of this first half, Wisla on the stronger side. What are we looking at here? 6 has got to be a minimum, I guess. But even from this position, 8 surely has to be a target.
Yeah, you'd think so. You want to be winning the half from here, right? That is definitely the goal. A spot from Jedka. Molly coming in. Need to follow. Maybe a peek as well with the confidence. That's some pretty big damage, in fairness. Kyojin goes down on towards short. Spiro on the secondary AWP, of course, is not flashed off. Difficult to do in a round like this, but he takes his one and he's out of there. So at the very least, you know, you wanted short control, and you do end up with it, I guess, at the cost of the player. Goofy, nearly caught in transition, but gets some good timing. Finds a double. That should seal the deal. Hadji very low indeed. So Kioz has to go absolutely nuclear here, and he's shut down at the first sign of any contact. Hadji with a nice eagle shot to finish off the round, but of course just the one player going down. It is the AWP. It does get recovered though, so all good for Wisla.
Building up. Couple rounds in a row, and again Falcons taking the ecos, so bit of breathing room now for Wisla. First time in a while. Can bank up a little bit of cash as well, which will be nice. And I guess, given it's Falcons map pick, if Wisla keep this rolling and get a respectable CT round haul, it's not over yet. All the CS is yet to be played, and I guess on this round we shouldn't expect too much from these Glocks. A bomb plant would be mesmerizing.
Well, they're really trying to go for it. I mean, 2 team flashes coming in from the CT side. Definitely the comms are a bit all over the place here against the Glocks, but they hold on. They keep it together. And indeed, a normal anti-eco. Who'd have thought? There you go. Nice and clean. That's kind of how you do it. You can see these flashes are a little dodgy from the CT side, but they don't get punished for it. And yeah, Wisla really closing the gap here. That 8 rounds that we were looking for from Falcons kind of under threat a little bit. Oh. Yep, you catch that? The short jump failed for the second player there. That's a bit rough. Goofy
it happens. But I don't think it's going to have a huge effect on half of the boost here. Jeka swings out. Oh, the timing to fall off the head. And Sparrow also warping that mid-B position. Finds another, but Wisla is still committing behind these frags. They really want the fights, even though it's a huge man advantage. But for the moment, it seems to be working out.
Yeah, they've hit their stride. Looking pretty confident here, and a flawless rifle round, nigh on flawless damage-wise as well. So Falcons getting picked off, and yeah, a few failed moves from either side, in fairness. It is, unfortunately, the T side with the mistiming. Yeah, you can certainly, you know, call it getting CSGO'd, but difficult here, difficult to see. And, yeah. Oh,
here we go again. Is it just me, or has this been a lightning-fast half of Counter-Strike?
Yeah, for sure. Especially for Dust2, right?
Are so committed, and this is absolutely to form. Grouping up on B early. We're going to pop out. We're going to get aggressive. We're going to do what we did earlier on the half. But Sobel stands strong at the start. Goes down in the end, but too many players to deal with. And Falcons looking good here going into the second half.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's definitely a weird one to end on. Falcons maybe wanting to swap halves a little ahead of time, little faster than usual. Those final 2 or 3 rounds, especially the rifles, right? Those final couple rifles, just absolutely sending it, as they say, full throttle, straight into wherever they were going, whether that was short, whether that was the B bomb site. So, yeah, interesting, very interesting indeed, to say the least. We'll be on cam for a few moments here. Game will be getting back underway. I suppose you want to keep everyone in the loop. Not necessarily a hard break here, so we'll just be kind of chatting things over on what's happened in that first half, setting up the second half. But I don't know. I still feel, although it slips towards the tail end, a great start, of course, from Falcons, really managing the economy well. Would you say it's enough for them on the T side?
Given it's their map pick and presumably they're comfortable going to the second round, almost certainly. And unfortunately for them, a lack of information meant by the time they actually executed in, Falcons had all the info, they had the stack, and it was going to be so tricky to break the crossfires. So it was a nice idea, the execute, but maybe it could be refined a little bit to deal with different scenarios. Yeah,
it's definitely a difficult one, right? I think that you can maybe look back in hindsight as well and feel that Falcons getting super aggressive in their pistol is not too far afield as an idea. Pretty rough. Nice flash from Goofy to set himself up for a frag. It seems Kios has been tagged as well. And get their hands onto this gun and maybe even get a kill to go with it, or a couple. Then perhaps they are on their way to victory. And I think that's certainly got to be the case here, right? Snatchy finishes his dinner on to Kios. And just Hadji remaining. That is disastrous for Falcons.
Yeah, and throwing the first half as well for good measure. How many rounds have we seen either won on a half by or a force by Wisla, or taken at least one-on-one? It's got to be 2, 3, maybe 4 rounds. So Falcons need to go back to the drawing board at approaching these pistols on both sides. And economically, this is a disaster. And Hadji, I don't think he will, but he needs to hold on to this gun for them to have any opportunities going into the next.
He gets one. But yeah, dealt with quickly. That is pretty much the perfect round, right? You get 3 A1Ss out of it. FAMAS is less good, but, it's still a free rifle. And this short is just mental. Absolutely mental, right? And again, you've got to look to Falcons, right? The player holding on Kenny S corner, you got to say, right, it's not really going well for me. I'm just getting Pika's advantaged over and over, Maybe drop down after you miss the opportunity to find the kill. You just drop back and pick up the pieces at a later date rather than giving them another kill. That's maybe the disciplined way to play it. The way that they're playing, they stick around, they want to take the fights, and Israel more than ready for that. Even, I feel if he gets that kill, there's a good chance he gets traded. So, Certainly something to consider here for the CT side moving forwards. And on UT side, you might get away with it a bit more. Might be able to keep bringing those buys in. But on the CT end of things, really not going to be the case.
Swarming the map here are the Falcons players. A little bit of timing's over towards long, but so will finds the frag. 5 on 3 now. Numbers alone. Should make this clean. Just need to cover up all the angles. Utility going down. Kios is still around Goose. Goofy's going to pick him up. It's going to be 10 for Wisla Krakow. Money is absolutely in the bin now for Falcons. Been eco in the next. And even the following round, Squiv, this is the problem getting reset. Their buy in 2 rounds' time is not going to be good at all. There's not going to be any AWP in play. Actually, Mac has got a bit of cash, so maybe on that front, but utility will definitely be lacking.
Yeah, it starts to slip through your fingers pretty quickly here if they're not careful. Really, really becoming problematic for the CT end of things.
This is absolutely advantage Wisla right now. Even though it's a CT-sided map, even though it's Falcons' pick, they're in a strong position. And economically, look how far ahead they're going to be now. They haven't even played against the full eco yet.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, they're absolutely flying into these rounds. The sort of intangible level of the confidence and momentum, which can be pretty important in today's game with how crazy up and down the economy can be. So I certainly think that Wisla, in their own minds as well, feel like they're in full control of this one. The scoreline might not necessarily dictate that at the moment, but the way that it's going, the half reset and everything, half 2 is all about them right now. Falcons dropping the ball for sure since the pistol.
Nice frag from Haji. Does a little bit of damage. Actually going to find a second, so round has already become a little bit more costly than Wisla would have liked. Yojin. No rivals to be found there out the mid door. So 3 alive. Could have been a tiny bit better, but irrespective, the money's looking fantastic. And I mentioned it earlier on. The problem is here for Falcons. Do you take the M4s and have less utility? Do you take MP9s and have full nades? Pick your poison. And they're going the way of the rifles. So come the late round, I'm not sure they have the utility to deal with what Wisla can throw at them.
Yeah, we've really talked about this a lot, haven't we? Getting reset off the back of the pistol. I think maybe it requires, especially for the CT side, a bit more economy management than you'd think. It's a very natural response to just sort of force buy after losing a round like that. You're on the 1400 loss bonus, you know. But it maybe does require a little more nuance than that, actually, because you come into your rifle round and all of a sudden you got no cash. So we'll see. We'll see. They'll obviously have been banking for this and ready for this. Not super aggressive, but a little more proactivity. Leaving mid wide open, though.
Yeah.
This is where it gets quite
You can see they've actually faked the door smoke to try and bait a player into Sparrow, but it's not working. Falcons are staying put. Other side of the coin is, though, look at the map control here for Wisla. They can do whatever they like. A, B, splitting either, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's deadly. It's really, really deadly. Get the cross smoke, get a flash into it. Kios trying to bait them in towards his flash, but he can't quite find the head that he's looking for. 2 players charging in through window, but they get mowed down. Haji, they weren't ready for him. Meanwhile, Jedka on this flanking position, not looking too bad, finds his kill. Bombs dropped, 30 seconds, and, you know, easy crunch comes in from the A players as well if they want to go for it. And that's the difficulty of breaking in towards B, right? Sending everyone through window. Yeah, I mean, they had, would have been Kios, you know, locked down, but Haji, like I say, that overlooked player, and they just easy to mow down. So, yeah, really difficult stuff for Wisla, not the best of B takes.
Yeah, they had nobody tunnels, and I think it was Jedka still here towards long, and they'll reflect on that and think maybe we could have had an extra player tunnels here at least to make it, you know, it's so much easier for the CT side when you only have to focus on essentially one direction. If there's a player coming out tunnels off contact, that could be so tricky to hold, but nonetheless, given the situation presented, doing well with the Falcon B players, and also, I guess, really nice to keep 4 players alive. They had to do that. If they'd only survived with 2, instant reset and the game could be over. So, Falcons, just about hanging in there at the moment.
Spamming away. Nothing really coming. There's a... I've noticed their T side, you know, as you kind of expect. I don't think it'd be on the same pacing as Falcons, but it is a very rigid T side, and I think that's maybe some of the issues that they're running into, right? It's like, okay, if X, Y, and Z parameters happen, then we will find ourselves a nice take in towards B or whatever. But it's kind of that going back to GCS dependent variable, the one that changes.
You're going back
maybe?
real far here.
I am going back quite far. Or is it the independent and I'm just overthinking it?
Oh god, dependent is the one you choose, right?
Yes.
And then the independent is the cause
variable.
of the result.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm not sure which way round you want it in your analogy.
Yeah, right. I think I should have done my research before I went for it, you know what I mean?
You can do it for next time.
Indeed, yeah. I'll save it for map 2. We'll look at over the break. But either way, moving up short, income Statue, clean headshot to open up, and that's definitely not what they wanted on this A defense. However, they've been trying to fake out B, right? Which leaves 1, 2 players locked in, and Sobol at the very last second is able to hear out Hadji, but can't stop him. Now a 4-on-3 retake looks pretty good for the CT side.
2 players coming from short, 2 going in from long. Looking at the T side setup, they need to hit some awesome shots here on short to make this after plant doable. First goes the way of Kios, and look at these players, how they're being sandwiched. They drop a smoke, but I don't think it's going to matter. Snatchy finds the first, but he's pinched. Maka gets the trade, and overall, that was a nice retake from the Falcons, guys. Really kind of sandwiching those players on the bomb site.
Yeah, surviving with 3 as well, so keeps adding to that old economy conversation. Really, really good stuff here. Especially considering the start that they had. But, you know, once again, Wisla maybe, like I did in that round, overthinking things a little bit and trying too hard to sell the B fake. You need those B players to do a bit more then. If you've got bodies in there, they need to be slowing down and maybe even completely cutting off rotations. But they did flop a bit too quickly, and that allows a clean 4-on-3 retake on the A bomb site where, you know, you kind of have the yin and yang on Dust2, the B bomb site. Probably the hardest to retake in the game. The A bomb site certainly up there as not being super complicated. So able to get in and break back towards the A bomb site. We've got a technical pause here from the Falcons. So say a few prayers. Hopefully won't be waiting too long for this one.
We hope not. We hope not. But I think we have to cut you some slack, Scriv, for the dependent variable. I have a master's in maths and I barely know, to be honest, which way round they are. I haven't really thought about it, even myself.
Thank you for that.
I don't know, secondary school or high school, you might say, in the Americas or the rest of Europe. So we'll cut you some slack. But the teams, though, no slack is given. This is Counter-Strike, bro. Nothing's fair in love. War and Counter-Strike, and one of these teams today is going to lose and be out of the tournament.
That's a good line. That's a good line. I like that. Brings a smile to my face. Yeah, get it written down and save it for like a VO at some point, you know? I think that's a good line for like an epic setup for a tournament. Maybe IEM Cologne, something along those lines. Hyojin, though, loses life early on. Not having the hottest of games, you've got to say. 8-16. Maybe a finger to be pointed. Maybe depends on how they're utilizing him here in the squad. You never know, might even be in-game leading to a certain extent, to be honest.
Who knows?
So, yeah, we'll have to do some digging on that one. It's difficult to tell in these French teams because they really do change that mantle around quite a bit. Kiel's, though, going to find the trade back in towards B, but it is that long push coming through. Maka to hold.
4-on-4. Maka spots the head, but under a lot of pressure now. Smokes in front of himself to hide behind Gandalf. That will give him a little bit of space to play with, but these CT players need to get over thick and fast, and his initial rotate from long is first to fall, and somehow Mac is still alive. The problem is, though, the HP on these 2 remaining CTs. This is going to be so tough.
Yeah, the AWPs as well, just really not the ideal weapon for it. Had he just swap across to an M4, gives it his best college try, doesn't really see anything coming. Maybe if there were, you know, 2 looking long, not ready for him, something like that. You never know, but it doesn't happen, and he gets the AWP, he gets out of there. If this were by a very short thread holding on to their lead, but they will indeed hold on to it.
Looking good. Early on in this half, of course, Wisla got the reset, built up a lot of bank, let it slip away a little bit. So, stabilizing again. Economy has swung so much back and forth, and again, the Falcons struggling to build up any momentum here on the CT side, banking any cash, and they're going to be investing so much of their reserves into this buy. And I think the tricky part is, Scriv, what do you call in this position? Because they've struggled to find a lot of opening picks.
Yeah, that's very true, actually. And, well, here we are. Maka going to find the first on towards Snatchy, a big member on this T side. And they very quickly have discovered that there's nobody in the tunnels, maybe one outside B, right? But there's not a lot going on. That sets them up for an A play, one would think. Maka gets a bit giddy, gives his life away, but 3 players ready and waiting for this long hit to come in. Soball trying to find the entries, does get one. Looking for a bit more. Haji hidden in behind the site. Something, somewhere, coming his way. He's hoping for an opportunity, but it's Goofy with the big double. Dios, meanwhile, from short, trying to keep it held together, and he can't. And that is a horrific ground to be losing, right? It's certainly a difficult one to hold. They look good initially. Maka overswings, but just in the context of the game, that is maybe starting to say curtains to Dust2.
Scary stuff. Really scary. And as a reminder, map pick here for Team Falcons. And coming into the Vita, we were saying this is really strong stuff for the Wisla guys. They love all the maps in this map pool, and having 2 opportunities on their map pick and a decider, which they're certainly comfortable on, would be excellent. Somehow Kyojin finds a frag, but I don't think it's going to amount to that much. 14, lots of cash in the bank, and only 2 away from an early upset here on map 1.
Yeah, it's been rough, right? The hold of the economy and all that dangerous stuff. But certainly, it does just feel Falcons, like I said, that needed to have a pretty well-disciplined CT side. We've not really seen that from them. A lot of rounds where it's been even, or they've had a bit of an upper hand, and they've taken needless fights. You know, got to back yourself. Got to be confident in yourself in this game. But there is a level, perhaps. And I think Falcons are trying to find it still. And Viz were probably one of the worst teams, actually. I think they're very, very well... worst teams to do that against. Let me finish what I'm saying, because that sounds a bit rude, actually, the way it came out. But, you know, they're a very, very structured team. So, yeah, difficult to play that kind of style against them.
Maka posted up. Certainly will think about pushing in more aggressively if an impetus comes in. But for the moment, not too much pressure elsewhere. Did Maka spot? I'm not sure he did, but peeking in, he finds the frag and gets out of dodge. Goes for the trade, but it's just too late. And Maka is having a field day here in the tunnels. And he's getting even more aggressive behind it, Scriv. He wants the 4th, and he finds it. Maka going to town on the B-bomb site.
See, that's the other side of the coin from what I'm saying, though, right? You know, you have these overswings, the overfaces, and maybe it does cost you. That's the round that's kind of going to reaffirm some of the philosophy here for a player like Maka, because he makes it look very, very easy there when the parameters look good for him. Indeed, he's going to hit those frags, you know, individually, mechanically, a brilliant player.
He's really feeling it. Look at him in tunnels.
Yeah, he's absolutely going for it. And, you know, you're in this scenario, it's your map pick, you're looking down the barrel of losing, you've got to do something, right? That's maybe where he feels. And he's been in and around mid and A, and maybe these past couple rounds he's like, look, I've got to play B. It's just where I feel a bit more comfortable, and they are indeed playing into his hands. Another opener comes through. 2 have crossed. He's going to lose his teammate. He does find Snatchy, but surely the AKs up close can finish him off, and too many targets to pick from. That is a tough one for sure. Python goes flying in to try and recover the round, flying back out to try and survive. Bombs down just below window. Ooh, pause for breath. And indeed, I think Viz were trying to do the same here, just to buy a bit of time for utility to come in. Nade to be... bomb to be recovered. Python with a flash over the top, but not spotting anyone. And it is indeed that pesky bomb has found its way into a very weird spot. Python will keep going for a cheeky check. And he's close. He could fly over, but thinking twice. Trying to get the head as it comes up. Doesn't quite land. And this retake, this B retake, man, with no utility. Are you kidding me? This is so incredibly difficult. Spiro gets the timing onto the first, spots out the second, and will indeed win the 1v1. Able to play that one to perfection. 15 hit for Wisla. Falcons, unfortunately, crumbling earlier than they would have liked.
Oh, like a real brawl, that one on B. As you said, Wisla, after plant 2-on-2. It's going to be such a hard retake. Looking good in the end as they pull it off. Up against match point, needless to say, the investment's going to come in, and Mac is saying, I'm a one-man army. I need to get our team back into this game, and he's not holding back one bit. Finds the second in the tunnels, almost connects with that quickscope for the third, and Maka, what more can he be doing? He's really trying to put the team on his back.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's a difficult one, right? Mac has always been someone that's, I think, had a lot of fire behind him, a lot of that conversation that we were talking about at the start of the series with, you know, potential this, potential that. But he plays one of the most filled out roles in the game, of course. So I think it's moments like these where he's really going to have to prove himself above and beyond maybe what people expect of him. And yeah, like you say, the past couple rounds, the last one was pretty crazy, pretty chaotic. A great smoke, blocked him off, closed the gap. But again, in this round where he's tried to brute force it, he's found 2 for his squad, sets them up very nicely with an advantage. Jedka and Sobol. There's not a lot of cash, actually, for the Wisla side. So I think one of their goals becomes planting the bomb in this round.
Should be doable, though. 2 smokes. They put them down. Should be able to close ground to the bomb site, but they're deciding instead. So far down. We need to try and take Jules, and Sobol's going to drop. Nobody there to greet him for the moment, but he's up close, and now that bomb isolated on CT, there was never going to be an opportunity there to plant. So, actually kind of preface there. No plant. It's a really borderline buy here. They might need to take a pause to figure this one out.
Again, as we've said in previous rounds, when it's like that, you've got to go for something kind of wacky. They leave the angles open to look for fights, right? But the bomb going down is maybe an oversight or a bit too crazy.
I think that's the difference, though, isn't it? Do you go into that position of I think it was a 2-on-4, thinking, is our goal here to try and still win the round? Or is our goal to minimize our losses, to play damage limitation and get a bomb plant? Because, sure, jumping off there, if you pull off a crazy frag in CT and close ground to the AWP, you might win the round. But I think if you use your utility and close up Cat, you're probably going to get a bomb plant. So I think it's just differing philosophies. And clearly, as we're saying, maybe they should have just gone for the plant in that situation.
Yeah, I think we always, again, from sort of the spectator side of things, are on the side of the highest percentage play, the safest play. There's also maybe an argument to be made that they're trying to look for damage, take some weapons away from Falcons to make it hard for them round on round to keep full rifles and utility coming out. It's certainly going to be one of the goals of this round. Bit of armor. And ultimately, a set round on B, it would seem. Minute and 20 left on the clock. Probably chill here for a bit and then get the nades out.
Falcons well aware, though. Dumped so much nades, so much utility on those tunnels early. Wisla are saying, B-bomb sites on lockdown. We're going to make our way back towards long, likely here. And actually, if they slip past without being spotted here by Kios, they actually could isolate a 5-on-1 against Kyojin. So they've actually kind of threaded the needle here and found the best possible location.
Yeah, Kyojin knows what's coming. Nice one tap onto the first, gets a clean second. Might just have done enough, right? It's so early into the attack as well that it, of course, buys time for those rotations to get set up. They'll find themselves his AK in towards Pit, and maybe a conversation about chilling and you know, taking that AK into the next round. Goofy goes down. Starts to look more and more inviting, doesn't it? Kios finding another head, and then flicks back to finish Sobol and make sure there is no AK being saved across or anything like that. So, again, certainly not going to be the cleanest of buys here. I think I did spot Jedka kind of overspending in the previous round. Kyojin with a moment, and he absolutely needed to stand strong there, right? It's definitely an off-angle, good for one, that kind of thing. Getting the second is really nice, especially considering he's still kind of struggling, right? 12 to 20. Flashes coming out long, though. No time to really dwell on that previous round. Hadji making sure that Falcons are still in the conversation here for Dust2. Snatchy has picked up Kioz with all this going on, but it is ultimately a solid advantage for the CT end.
Looks like Kioz died top mid, so I didn't quite catch that. Somewhere in the mist, he must have made a mid push, assuming the UI here is correct. Man advantage still for Falcons. They've got long. They're also pushing in towards Catwalk, and feels a bit needless to continue getting aggressive, but I guess when the frags are falling your way, you're not going to complain. With Jedka left alone, going to be tricky. He's going to fall. And now we are going the distance. 30th round. Wisla's cash is shocking here. And of course, they have to invest. And Falcons, a perfect opportunity now to get it to the overtime.
Yeah, got to let them know, I suppose, with these rounds, you are not messing about. So, very, very, very scary. Crazy. Absolutely crazy stuff here that we are winding it back. All the Falcons games seem to be very, very close, right? Yesterday, full 30 on map 1 and 3, and then an overtime on map 2 against Saw. So we might be in for the long haul. I hope you've got your coffee ready. Maybe a tea. Don't know if you're much of a coffee drinker, to be fair, Alan.
I don't actually drink either. Really. Surprising.
Well, fair enough. I don't drink much tea.
I don't know. I should probably denounce my citizenship for not drinking tea, but yeah, I don't know. I'm just a wacky one like that.
Well, hydration nonetheless. It's important, and also for you guys at home. There you are. Here's your.
Well, that's the problem, bro. Because caffeine makes you more dehydrated, doesn't it? So
yeah, that is very true.
Listen to me.
It's a
drink
catch-22.
water and don't go to the Scriv School of hydration.
Yeah, well, that's what you do, mate. You sell them the coffee, and then you sell them the water.
Now you would notice 40.
Yeah, so you're in your own kind of circle type thing, and when you look at the fine print, I own both companies, you know, something like that. Either way, B rush here for Wisla. It is a risky one to be sending in the final round. They will manage to find the first. They will get control of the site, which is always important. However, they've lost the man advantage. There's still Hadji chilling around, thinking about it, looking for it, smoking towards window. Hoping a gap is there. Not going to be the case. And, well, we have a very quick call of get everyone in tunnels and let's do a B rush of our own to save the game and take us to overtime. Hadji holding to make sure that they don't push out, but this is certainly going to be a bloodbath. Kyojin opening up for the first, and now they will. They've got to go. 3 spotted out. Spiro, the only one left, runs out of ammo. Planted firmly on his backside at B ramp, and it is an overtime to decide Dust2.
Oh, gone the distance now, haven't we? Even that round alone, it felt like if Snatchy hits this shot right here, it was doable. It was always going to be a tricky kind of duel to take, but retaking B can always be hard, and it felt like Wisla had it done. They were so far ahead there going on to that kind of the middle stage of the second half. But here we are, overtime, and we wouldn't have liked it any other way.
Yeah, for sure. And like I say, Falcons proving themselves, you know, maybe to be, as they say about, you know, the VP squad, a very difficult team to put away, for sure. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. It's a very interesting one here for Falcons. I think that they're proving themselves as a team that never really gives up, and they can always pull something out in the late round scenarios or the late game scenarios. Definitely, it was Maka there that seemed to be the difference maker, just playing so fast, so aggressive, and just opening the opportunities. He might lose his life, but being like, look, I've got you a man advantage. Just relax with it. Just don't give it away. You know, tighten up, as we've been talking about. And as we see them add a little bit more discipline to their game, they do indeed find themselves in an overtime. However, we've gone back to crazy aggression, crazy wild plays. First round of overtime, Snatchy with probably 2 of the easier kills of the past sort of 10 rounds or so. They come up on a silver platter, solid 2-man advantage for Wisla.
I respect Falcons in the kind of aspect that we're in overtime. Let's show something we haven't displayed in regulation. Problem with Snatchy. He was ready for it, found the frags, and it's going to be so difficult from here unless they can isolate a lot of jewels in mid, and Kyojin finds 2. One here in Xbox is super low as well, and Maka seems to know it. This is absolute madness here in mid, as Maka's going to sit in the smoke. Will Wisla find him? This is scary stuff.
A little out there. Spiro has made his way towards the A-bomb site. Goofy with the smoke. They're ahead of it. Oh, no! Caught rotating nades and will be finished off. Jedka has to find at least one of these, if not both. Does take Hadji. Maka now left alone. The bomb going to make its way over towards the A-bomb site in good time. I don't know, 35 HP. You don't really save with the 16k. Actually, I think it's 12.5, isn't it?
I think it's 16 right now.
Okay, okay. But you don't really save in this scenario, right?
That's what we always say.
You definitely go for it. Even if it was just 10, you've got to make the rounds work in your favor. Not a lot of time, you know, if he drops
if he actually wallbangs him, he can do it.
So close! And he does! Oh my goodness. Inches away the first time. Slight adjustment. He was confident that it's like, if I hit the bullet, he's going down. So you've got to make sure you're on the right spot. And he adjusts to win the 16th under duress. Absolute duress. Madness from Maka.
There was a definite moment there where both of us were looking at it, thinking 2-on-1, completely impossible. Maybe he saves, and then we both spotted the time going sub 10 seconds. And knowing that those boxes were spammable. Oh my lord. How do you recover from that if you're Wisla? That was a golden opportunity, and I guess time more than nothing else was the 6th player there for Falcons.
Yes, absolutely. We talk about it often, and you've got to keep track of it. And a bit of a fumble getting onto the site, it looked like. Early opener here is an angry push from Sobol towards B. Spiro doing the same and finding success. He's opened up middle pretty substantially. B bomb site looks very, very vulnerable now. Hadji trying to play in somewhat of an off angle, you would argue, on top of the box there, but doesn't make it happen. So it will fall apart. And now Kyojin and Maka once again. Spiro's been spotted. He's just buying so much time, so much space for them to get into post plants. Nice move from Kyojin. But like I said, distraction is in. Kyojin now left against 4, technically speaking, right? He found the first, but got a lot of work to do. Breaking in towards B. Really, really tough. And this time around, he will opt to save. You've got the AK one-tap potential. Very nice into future rounds. Also, the element of futility to it as well. So, you know, kind of what's the point is maybe his argument. I'm going to respect them. They're definitely going to win this one. And maybe padding the stats a little bit. Finding some nice shots at the tail end of the round. But definitely that one-tap potential moving into this final round.
I'm looking forward to the Frag movie, where they edit it like that was an A-site hold at the end. Like some incredible shots coming out, saving the round, when really he didn't have the knackers to actually go for the retake, so he saved. Oh well, 16 is going to be for both teams. Double AWP in play for that CT side. Maka's got a nice spawn. He's going to take that towards long. But I guess for Wisla, after a pretty strong kind of slew of gun rounds in regulation, surely they just stick with what was kind of tried and tested, those slow defaults, and essentially letting Falcons make the mistakes into then mid-rounding in kind of good positions.
Yeah, they're really starting to let the pressure, the fatigue that can happen, you know, playing one map for nearly an hour and a half kind of thing. Although actually this one's been more like just an hour because of how fast that first half was. But the fatigue definitely sets in. I think certainly frustration is a big one, right? So you just have to keep it together and not let the overtime, not let losing that tough round get to you. But it's easier said than done, mate. You know what I mean? From this side of the server, as it were. Very easy for me to say. Flashes over the top towards long. No one going to be here to meet them. So good control early on. Let's see if they can do something with it.
A lot of noise cues, though, for the CT side. They'll certainly be aware that there has to be a few numbers out towards long. One way's dropped on the site to allow a few options. Look at this boost here, Scriv. This is unusual, to put it lightly. Flash is good to take Maka off, but he's going to take a second bite at the cherry. Play in towards Pit and Snatchy. I'm not sure if he saw them the first time, but he's ready and waiting. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, a bit of frustration there for Falcons themselves, right? I'm pretty sure Maka spotted just as a T-Flash came over the top to blind him. He spotted Snatchy moving in towards Pit. And yeah, hard to tell without his perspective, but I reckon he might have seen him. Was definitely waiting for that. Kyojin waiting for a flash. Comes in, spots the first, and well, he's finished off by the blinded players. Info's there, buys a bit more time. Still a man down though on this CT side. Agi left so damn low by the spray through the smoke. Python up close and personal. The last line of defense. Drop the bomb. Gonna make his strike. Looks good while doing so, and it's all down to Spiro and Kioz. It's Kioz to come out on top. A key victory picked up for Falcons to get the advantage moving into the second half of overtime.
All of these rounds have been such a brawl, and of course, spamming through the box on the first round of overtime into that 1-on-1 at the end. Safe to say, getting pretty exciting here in this first map, and considering this is Falcons map pick, they've already got a lot more than they bargained for here. The Wisla guys are really showing up.
Yeah, for sure. And, we can maybe talk about it heading into future maps, but it does put the overall series in the air, right? Again, though, I have to keep leaning towards a lot of the games for Falcons have been very, very close. A lot of 2-1s, a lot of overtimes, a lot of narrow misses as well. I think that they just kind of maybe start to realize the game's getting away from them a bit too well put together. CT round here, they indeed lose a player, but they knew where they had to go to pick up the pieces. Spiro spots another. That smoke really playing into his hands. Kyojin, it seemed like he couldn't see over it, but Spiro could on the other end.
Maka didn't expect a player to be so wide in mid, and suddenly with that first kill, what should have been a slam dunk round for Wisla, has suddenly found itself in a 2 versus 2. There's still some utility on these terrorist players, and certainly more so than the CT side. Bomb is going to get recovered. I guess it's on Sparrow here to get that information. They need to work out thick and fast where these Falcon players are going.
Fake smoke. Yeah, Spiro smells a rat. See if these kind of plays for overtime. It's a tough angle for him to beat, though, on that AWP. It's so unwieldy around the corner. Now, one of the key things you've got to bear in mind, they do have Molotovs, but no smoke for this cross. 10 seconds. Can he even get the bomb down? I don't even think they have enough time.
Someone needs to call time right now.
Yeah, definitely not enough time. They're going to try and go for the kill. No way! They didn't get the round. They didn't get the round. Okay. Okay. Why? One of them like that in a game, maybe, but 2 down to time, and this is so close. Yeah, maybe half a second in it. Wow.
Oh my god, somebody needed to be telling Sobel earlier that it wasn't going to be possible. And then he couldn't have peeked at all, and they wouldn't even be able to hunt the kill, but... Oh, I guess that's just very apt for this game, isn't it? Can't predict anything. 17 apiece. Entry kill goes the way of Falcons. Surely they got to be closing this one out.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Goodness me. Let it sink in. Let it sink in. Aye, aye, aye. Unreal. Well, yes, as mentioned, advantage into this round. Got to work with it. It's starting to get out of hand. I'd love to see an early opening pick, and then you just kind of go into a bit of an... I mean, it's Dust2, isn't it? Trickle smokes, spam the flashes, plant for short, maybe even break into the site and win the round. But we'll see. We'll see. Are we going to get, you know, a somewhat normal round here in overtime? I don't know.
No. If I've learned anything so far, Scriv, is this might be advantage Falcons, but I'm not betting any chips on them to come out ahead in this one. This could still definitely go either way. The good news is, though, The smoke is nice on the Vanguard smoke. That allows them to cross the bomb site. And as long as the flashes are okay, maybe they can isolate out these CT players. But Snatchy finds the first. Flashes are starting to dwindle. Hadji finds a kill in mid, but they're so far committed. 14 seconds remaining. But they find the frags this time. Just about, but that again was cutting the time so close.
Honestly, it's been kind of crazy here. And still, you know, no real sign as to whether it's going to be over. A flawless half, maybe. Yeah, indeed. You go 18-15 up. Cool. Even 18-16 would be a way to work. But of course, it's all the way down to the wire. One more round to decide whether we get more or whether we'll be moving onto map 2 after just the one overtime. Never easy. Never easy at all. Really nice, though. They seem to have added to the HUD that it tells you what round you need to get to. So that's quite useful for the viewers. Also quite useful for you and I, maybe, when it gets to overtime 7. As, you know, it doesn't seem too out of the question these days, apparently.
No. Of course, anybody that saw the Na'Vi match didn't go quite as expected. Super long game on Mirage, and I guess...
Of all maps.
Yeah,
well.
I know. I think we were a little bit miraged out after the Katowice final. But Kiosk, he's certainly not out of action. Finds the opening kill, and now it's just Sobel isolated on B. He is in such a tough spot. If they were to commit, but Falcons have changed their mind. They're going back towards A. Oh. They're going through the Molotov as Sparrow finds the first. What is happening here, Squib?
Yeah, it's not the worst idea into an AWP, I suppose, but they're very ready. Goofy, though, gets demolished. Jedka has to find maybe even all of them. 2's good, but it's not quite enough. 2-on-1 against Sobol to save the game, and he comes from under. So difficult to deal with. Here's the plan. Taji just around the corner, just above him. Creeping in, spots the first, very low, and they were not ready for him at all. Hadji trying to play around the double boxes, just find the head. Where is it? Jump spot comes in. I don't know whether he saw it, but Hadji's definitely been seen himself. Sobol waiting for him to make a move. Not going to happen. Another jump spot comes in, and he lands right in the crosshair of Hadji. Isn't that how you want the 1v1 to go? And of course, it will be Falcons taking it. The overtime required. Definitely felt like with the start that they had to that map that they were in for a not a breeze, but a nice, clean 16-10, 16-11 maybe with this nice start we've got on the T side if we can make it work. But